Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here to the dirt track at Charlotte. It plays host for the second season of the championship battle here in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. Three drivers mathematically come into tonight's event eligible to hoist the championship trophy at the end of tonight's main event, based on the fact that tonight double points are on the line. It's Bobby Trapper, James Bonaface, and John Cannonzaro, all three going to take part in the first heat race here tonight. I'm Seth Cole, being joined by Anthony McCurry. And Anthony, we basically said the numbers coming into tonight after last week's race at Weed Sport. Now, if you're Boniface and Cannonzaro, do you even let yourself think about points here?
I don't think that you can. I think you have to go out and just run your race and try to have as good a finish as you possibly can. Bobby Trapper, for all intents and purposes, is at this stage kind of untouchable. However, with the number of drivers that we have taken the start of the race, it's not impossible for either the two of them to take the championship away. It's going to take a lot for them to do it, but they have a shot at it. But what they need to do is just run their race. We saw that last week at Weed Sport. They had great runs, but they just couldn't close in the deal. We saw, in fact, the Louie Bernier absolutely dominate the second half of the race and cause some of these guys to have to kind of chase him down. And we had some late race dramas that caused a shakeup in the running order. But you got to run around this track. It's double points tonight, a double length race. Run your race. It's one of the longer ones on the season, so you got to stay focused and don't think too much about where the guys that you're battling for are around you. Just focus on getting to the front.
Well, they won't be concentrating on the numbers, but we certainly will. Coming into tonight with double points, Bobby Trapper to win the championship, he's just got to basically finish ahead of Cannonzaro and James Boniface, and he would pick up his third championship of his career. For James Boniface, if he wins tonight, not counting bonus points here from this heat event, he would have to win, and Bobby Trapper would have to finish outside of the top five. For Cannonzaro, he needs a lot of help. He needs to win the race. He needs Bobby Trapper to finish outside of the top 9, and he needs for James Boniface to finish outside of the top 3. But it's not out of the realm of possibility as green flags in the air for our first heat race. Freeman, Cannonzaro, Bobby Puckett, James Boniface, and Bobby Trapper in this one. And how ironic is it that all three of the championship competitors are taking part in the same heat, in the same vicinity to each other? So I don't want to say that the championship can be won or lost in this heat race, but we've seen the last 2 seasons just how prevalent the heat race bonus points are.
It certainly is going to add a bit of the advantage to whoever comes out on top of this one. Whoa, there goes Puckett around. He got hit by Bobby Trapper, and that is not going to bring up the yellow flag for that one as he's gotten going back the right direction, but that's about how tight, now the caution comes out late, the yellow flies for this one, but that's how tight this track is. We talked a lot about the points coming into this race, but we haven't really talked much about how narrow the track is and how short it is. Charlotte is going to be, it's in its own right, kind of a deciding factor in who wins this championship as well, because there's not a whole lot of room to make passes around here.
Certainly is not, and this track's going to take on the aspect of a few tracks we've seen in the past couple of weeks, including last week at Weed Sport, where we saw a lot of drivers late in the run really diamond the corners. Observe these drivers in practice, and a lot of them on the longer run were diamonding into the corner, shallow entry, wide through the center, and then cutting it back to the inside off of either turn 2 or turn 4, going out of the front or back straightaway respectively. So if we get into a long run here in the upcoming main event, expect to see a lot of that. And that's another thing too. We've seen last couple of weeks the main event race length's been bumped up from 35 to 40 laps. Well, here tonight at Charlotte, much like the season opener at Volusia, we are going to be running 50 laps in the main event. So tack on those extra 10 laps, which could very much so be deciding factors into the outcome of this championship too.
Everybody's been used to running the shorter races, and now having the extra 10 laps to work with will definitely play into some of these guys' strategy as the pace trucks come off onto the pit lane. We're back under green here in Heat 1, and Cannonzaro this time gets a good jump. And we were talking about how the heat race, having all 3 of the championship drivers in the heat race, is going to have some championship implications. Whoever wins this race is going to come out with the maximum amount of bonus points, and there goes another spinner, and that time it's Puckett and Freeman getting together. Freeman goes off the nose of Puckett this time. No yellow. Now the yellow flies for this one.
Talked about how tight this racetrack is, and it has not dissuaded these drivers from taking it 3 wide into the corners. That time, Bobby Trapper on the bottom, Bobby Puckett in the middle, and Jason Freeman up top side led to the contact, bringing out the second caution in this heat race.
Yeah, it looked like they were just trying to squeeze into the corner, and I think Freeman actually came down a little bit, or there was a bit of contact from Trapper into Puckett. It just tightens up too much going into that turn for 3 wide racing. You can make it work, but it's very treacherous going through there. But they will stack them up and do it again. And once we get all of the cars on the racetrack, it's going to be interesting to watch just which lanes have been able to really form around the track. We haven't really got to see what they can do. We've only spent a couple of laps under green. In fact, 4 laps under green. So haven't really been able to decide where the battles would be won and lost at, but if I would guess, it would kind of be through the middle of the track, because we've seen the outside line work at a lot of tracks, but it doesn't quite seem to work as well at this one as it has in the past. And the inside line, the way that you have to diamond in and cut through, I don't think that it would be the fastest way around the racetrack, given that it's also a very flat racing surface.
Remember, we mentioned double points coming into tonight's season finale. That also counts for this heat race. So the winner of the heat is going to get 5 bonus points doubled, so 10. Second place would get 8, and third place would get 6. Right now, you've got your 3 championship contenders lined up in the 3 podium positions. Canonzaro, ever since the drop of the green flag to start this heat's been pretty much in control, but James Boniface now going to line up alongside him, and we were observing the fast drivers in practice. James Boniface and last week's winner, 2-time winner of the season, Louie Bernier, actually tied atop the standings for fastest lap in practice.
And we're back to green flag racing, and Canonzaro will take the lead just over Bonaface. Bonaface now through the middle. Look at Trapper down the inside trying to make the line work. Can't quite get the power out of the turns, and that's, I think, what's going to hurt the inside line the most. Is you can get the run in, but you can't get the power down unless you do what Trapper just did and kind of go out wide and then swing it in. Battle for the lead, Bonaface and Canonzaro. Who do you think wants the bonus points more, Canonzaro or Bonaface?
I think it's definitely got to be Canonzaro with the position he is in the standings coming to this one, as opposed to the 213. But at the same time, James Boniface wants to put some distance between himself and Bobby Trapper. Slide job there, swings up to the outside, crossed over by Canonzaro. He'll take the race lead once again into 3. Another slide job here, crossing each other over are the drivers second and third in points, while the points leader looks on.
And now going through turn 1 again, it's Bonaface to the bottom of the racetrack. This time Canonzaro sticks to the outside, tries to get the runoff. Here comes Trapper to the inside. He's going to stick a nose underneath of Bonaface, but can't quite make the pass done, has to bail out of it. Now here comes Canonzaro to the inside. He tries to cut off Trapper. Can he make the slide job work this time? No, Bonaface through the middle of the racetrack is going to get the lead back.
These 3 really realizing that the championship on the line, and they are the 3 that have a shot at it, and they are taking no prisoners with these moves. Less than a lap to go now here as Trapper drives it on Canonzaro. Boniface looks like he's cleared them both and may be coming around for this heat victory.
Boniface out of turn 4 will take the heat win. Who gets second place? Valuable bonus points, and it's going to be Canonzaro with the bonus points heading into the main event. And that's crucial for him. It's not a lot, but he does have that little bit of edge now.
It's huge for James Canonzaro and may give him still some hope in the upcoming main event. Now it's time to settle out the rest of the starting lineup with our second heat. Brian Rubel going to start on point alongside of Zane Burke. Drew Bonaface will be rolling off from third, and then a couple of former winners this season. Back-to-back winner in the last 2 weeks, Louie Bernier, and former winner this season from Kokomo, Grant Wesley.
So this heat will decide the rest of the running order, and this could have some big impact on what the main event race will hold, because, again, the field gets inverted through into the main event race, so those drivers that are battling for the championship will have to start towards the back. It all really depends on which drivers will file in line at the outcome of this heat race. Brian Rubel, his season has been a myriad of ups and downs, but he has had some solid runs. I don't believe he's got a win this season, but he would love to get one here tonight. Zane Burke, another story. He's come in to this league. He's trying to get his foot into the door for dirt racing. He's done pretty well this season as well. Drew Bonaface, I believe the brother of the other Bonaface, he will be taking the third place position tonight. He as I think is coming in to assist his brother to try and see if he can get that few extra cars on the field, that if there were to be a problem on Bobby Trapper's part, then there would be that extra points buffer. Louie Bernier, we've gone through his stat sheets. He's got a fantastic car coming into tonight, and he is one of the favorites to win tonight. And Grant Wesley, another favorite to win tonight. He's had some great runs as well.
As a bunch of drivers not in the championship picture that still want to finish out the season as best as they can in the overall standings, as Louie Bernier going to get together with Zane Burke and up and over. No caution yet. I feel there's going to be one here soon. Well, maybe not. No caution going to come out as the 74 up on his roof, back on all four wheels, and we stay green with Rubel leading them into turn one.
I think what happened there was Zane Burke and Louie Bernier on the start. Bernier was up to the outside of Burke, and when Burke took the start of the race, he kind of arced out to the top side of the racetrack and then made contact. That was a lot of damage that was sustained on the 74. I don't think he's gone back to the garage area, so this is going to be, I think, a pole position really would be in his future. I don't know for sure, but whoa, there's more contact.
That's Drew Bonaface off of the right side of Grant Wesley, and that will bring out the yellow flag.
So a myriad of incidences has led to this first yellow of our heat race, and I have to say, Seth, for all the season that we've gone through so far, yellow flags during the heat are very, very rare.
Definitely are. I'm trying to remember back the most cautions we had during two heat races combined. It might have been 3. I can't recollect off the top of my head, though, where it was at, but this may very well have either tied or maybe even taken the lead for most cautions in heat races so far this season. And there's a look once again at what happened to Louie Bernier. I think that Zane Burke, I think there was some communication between those two where Zane Burke was saying, hey, I don't think I'm going to get that good of a jump here. Go to my outside so that way you don't get penalized for advancing your position illegally, so that way you can get around me when we get to turn 1. And unfortunately, he spun the tires. It turned his car right, and that's where Bernier was.
That's what we've seen all season long with some of these tracks where you try to get the power down and the car digs into the dirt and shoots up to the outside of the racetrack. And it's a byproduct of these cars being super lightweight and also super powerful. So a little bit of misfortune for Louie Bernier. However, he will be still in the main event race. And again, I think that this benefits him in a way where he's not battling for a championship. And the way that the field gets inverted, because he has completed the fewest amount of laps, I would assume that by default he would be on the pole position. So maybe not all for losses. We're back under green flag conditions. Rubel, Wesley, and Boniface, Drew Boniface that is, thunders in out of turn 2.
I'm not sure if Bernier would be on the pole. He'd be on the front row. I think because of being in the first heat, I think Bobby Puckett's going to be our pole sitter for the upcoming main event. Is Rubel showing the way here, about a car length and a half back to Grant Wesley. Now that closes up to less than half a car length off of turn number 2. Drew Boniface right there in the vicinity as well. And I mentioned the fact that all of these guys, they're just trying to finish out the season as best they can in the point stands, not able to battle for the championship. Brian Rubel coming to this race 7th in points. Grant Wesley with a victory this year, 5th in the point standings. You've also got Zane Burke back there. He's 10th in the overall standings. Actually, correction, 9th in the point stands. And he's right within striking distance of moving up to 8th, only about 4 points behind Ethan Fisher for that spot. So all these guys, they've got goals as well. They want to finish out as high as they can in the point stands. And for some of them, like in the case of Brian Rubel, Zane Burke, and Drew Boniface, they'd like to end out the season with their first win on their career.
Myriad of motivation going into this race. The regular season still very much not over for a lot of these drivers, and it does add that little extra bit of morale going into the offseason. This battle for second place is heating up, though, between Drew Boniface and Grant Wesley. Now, Grant Wesley, we've seen a lot of. Drew Boniface we haven't seen much of, so it's going to be interesting to watch how this driver tries to make his way through the field tonight. We have seen him before. He has taken a start this season already, but he's only made a couple limited starts. It's going to be fun to see how he impacts the running order of tonight's main event race and how the overall race will go for him, as he's got some speed right now. He's been able to keep up with Wesley and Rubel, so he's no slouch when it comes to the speed department. As we're on the white flag lap, it looks like it's going to be Brian Rubel to take the lead and just barely over Wesley. Wesley had a shot.
You said it looked like it was going to be, and I thought, hold on just a second. Let's wait till they get back to the start-finish line, because Wesley gave it a yeoman's try there, but going to come up just short. And I believe, I'd have to look back, but I believe that's the first heat win of the season for one Brian Rubel. So well done to him. That now sets us up for our 50-lap main event. And we're correct. It is Louie Bernier that is going to start on the pole position. Bobby Puckett will be on the front row with him, but he'll be on the outside of row number 1.
Behind them will line up Zane Burke and Jason Freeman, both of them looking for, I think Freeman's actually got a win, so Zane Burke is looking for his first win of the season, and it'll be Drew Bonaface. And our points leader, Bobby Trapper, will be starting in 6th place.
Then Wesley Canonzaro, they'll be in row 4. Brian Rubel and James Boniface, by consequence of winning those respective heat races, they will make up the final row. We know Boniface has a fast machine. He was tied for the fastest lap in practice. He set the fastest lap in qualifying, but he's going to be starting 4 positions behind Bobby Trapper. It's 50 laps, though. How patient can you be if you're the 213? Because we know if you're Bobby Trapper, he's going to try and get to the front as quickly as he can.
What we've seen throughout the heat races, those have only been 10 laps, and they went by super quick. Only lasted, even with the caution flags, only lasted around 5 to 6 minutes. So you figure that that's about all the time you're going to get for every 10 laps. And we've seen how tight this racetrack is. You have to be able to make moves, but you can't be too impatient. You have to wait for a hole to open and get through it, or else you might be making contact and going out to the outside wall, or even getting pinned down on the inside line and making no progress. With all the cars on track, all 10 of them, it's going to be stressful, to say the least, for James Boniface and John Canonzaro to make their way from essentially, well, for Boniface, it is a last place starting position, and Canonzaro an 8th place starting position. It's going to be fun to watch them get through the field.
We mentioned the fact that this is the 2nd straight season that the Charlotte Dirt Track has played host to the championship battle. Last season, it was Bobby Trapper who took the checkered flag and subsequently the championship. Green flag is out. Louie Bernier with a great jump, going to lead them into turn number 1. Bobby Puckett going to be in 2nd, and Zane Burke looked like he was kind of trying to get out of everybody's way again, but he's going to hold pretty well there in 3rd place. Jason Freeman putting the pressure on him topside.
Holding it on the bottom of the racetrack behind, there was a bit of contact between Trapper and I believe that was Drew Bonaface on the inside of the racetrack, but no harm, no foul. We're still running, and Trapper, what he's got to do too is get to the front field, or the front of the field quickly as well, because right now he is the championship leader. He would be the champion if they finish where they are now, but Canonzaro has almost caught up to him as we come around to complete, or go around to go halfway through lap 3.
Zane Burke kind of in a tricky spot there, almost got into Bonaface, or rather Freeman, and then almost got into Bobby Trapper, who had him split 3 wide. Now they're going to battle for 3rd place, leaving the 828 back to the wolves of Canonzaro and James Boniface, Drew Boniface in that vicinity also. Bobby Trapper, we know, loves to run the inside line, but let's talk about the fact, oh no! Jason Freeman just got forced into the wall by Bobby Trapper off of turn 4.
That will bring out our first yellow of the main event, and thankfully Freeman has landed on his wheels, albeit that car is probably very heavily damaged as he's gotten back onto the racetrack, and that car went for a wild ride at the hands of the 69 machine, and boy, again, the track being so tight, it looks like he just got squeezed to the top side.
Yeah, he was definitely there on driver's right coming off of turn number 4. Let's take another look at it. See if we can find out where Trapper pushes up. Oh, I'm not certain. Trapper might have thought he was clear, but he clearly wasn't. His right rear tire making contact with the left front tire and Jason Freeman, and Freeman with a wild ride there, and has come down pit road, taking on the only faster pair afforded to these drivers here tonight. It's bad enough in the early stages of a 35 or 40 lap event that you have to take a faster pair on the first 5 laps, but I don't want to call it an endurance race, but compared to the length of the other races, it is a much longer distance. 50 lap race, you don't want to use a faster pair early on in that one either.
Still have to go 45 more laps without any other incidents, and with how the race has been gone, even in the heat and into the main event, it's going to be a tough ask for the driver of the 20 machine to keep his car in one piece, but not impossible. We know that Jason Freeman is one very intelligent driver. Back to what we're going to be putting under on lap 6 of 50, and it will be Louie Bernier Bobby Puckett will be on the front row. Bobby Trapper moved up to a third place during that 5-lap stint. He will be taking the inside of row 2, followed by John Cannizzaro, which made an almighty charge up through the field. Oh yeah, throw James Bonaface in right behind them. The championship 3 still nose to tail. We're back to green, and Louie Bernier was not waiting around.
He is not, but it's going to be Bobby Trapper hanging right with him. Less than half a car length between those two as they went through 1 and 2, and James Boniface right there as well as he'll drive to the inside of Bobby Trapper. Right here, folks, could be your battle for the championship, and we're not even 10 laps into our main event.
Still battling on the top side of the racetrack is Bonaface to try and get the advantage. Look at him slaying it into turn 3, almost hit the 69 on the way in, but still stays glued to the side. Backs off, has to settle into third place, but that was an almighty charge by the 213. Louie Bernier is trying to get away from these two, but Trapper's fast. Look at Trapper dive into the inside, trying to take the lead away from Bernier.
Drives it in deep. Will he pay the price off of 4, though, as he moves up the racetrack? I wondered if James Bonaface could close the gap off the final turn, but not able to. Bobby Trapper keeping Louie Bernier honest, though. Pretty much Bernier has dominated the last 2 weeks en route to those 2 victories. Bobby Trapper's not really been in the same vicinity, but here tonight, Bobby Trapper says, hey buddy, if you run full-time next season, I'm gonna be a guy you're gonna be looking at in your rearview mirror race after race.
Just noticed something that happened to Trapper. He was in the middle of the racetrack and he kind of washed up the racetrack. He was trying to get the power in, and I don't think that the wheels gripped enough. And that's something that will happen if you stall out. It's going to bring the guys behind you right up to you. As you see Boniface right up on the back end of the 69 now, as they're both running. Both him and Bernier running the outside of the racetrack. Trapper has been committed to the inside line. I don't know if it's the advantage right now, as now he's wandered up the racetrack to try that outside line.
And we're going to be seeing more and more drivers moving up against that wall. I think that maybe that inside line has lost all that grip it had in the early stages. It's only grip down there now to be able to slide your car up and diamond the corner. All top 3 going to run that outside line. Well, about maybe a half groove, maybe a full groove lower was James Boniface that time through 3 and 4, but watching Bobby Trapper down here on that inside line, gotta be careful, because much like we ended up seeing last week at Weed Sport, where that concrete barrier was a menace for drivers, you've got some tires down there separating the dirt to grass boundary, and the last thing you want to do is rip up the front end of your race car running too low.
There's a bit of some negative camber down there as well, where it wants to lift the front end of the car off the racetrack, and we've seen how tragic that can be from some of our previous races. And I've noticed something interesting about Trapper's line, and now Bonaface is doing it, where Trapper run the outside line through 1 and 2 and then dive to the inside for 3 and 4. I think now Bonaface is picking up on how well it can work, and he's now gone to the inside of 1 and 2, almost pulls alongside but then loses the momentum. Now Trapper back to the inside. He gets alongside of Bernier, but not enough. He can't get the power down quick enough to get the run off the corner, and I think that's what's hurting him in the fight to get the lead of the race. Bernier's been able to run the top side of the racetrack all the way around and make it work. Trapper, I think, is struggling to figure out how he's going to get around the 74. At the same time, Bonaface is struggling to figure out what part of the track he can get an advantage on. No one's really got the advantage of the top 3.
Some great battling going on all through the field. We've been watching the last couple of laps, this battle for 4th place. John Cannizzaro and Grant Wesley both picking up their first career victories this season in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. Wesley picking up his win at Kokomo, Cannizzaro the following week at USA International. They have been crossing each other over lap after lap, turn after turn. That now brings Drew Bonaface into the picture, and Grant Wesley's actually picked up 3 spots since we went back green on that restart. So that car, all of a sudden on the long run, it has found something.
He has been able to make that outside line work to his advantage, and because of that, he's now gotten away in 4th place from John Cannizzaro. Cannizzaro is now going to be duking it out with Drew Bonaface in the 202. This is a great run for Boniface as well. If he runs full-time next season, it would be fun to see Drew Bonaface try to do what his brother is doing up there, battling for a championship. Behind them, you've got Brian Rubel and Bobby Puckett, who are also in a battle between themselves for 7th place. This time, Puckett to the outside, Rubel to the inside. Both of them has got a pretty good stat sheet this season. I don't think that Rubel's got a win, though, but he would love to cap the season off with a good finish as well. Jason Freeman's trying to struggle to get the Oh, and they've made contact with Puckett and Freeman as they've both made, that's going to bring out a yellow. That was a bit of a half spin that caused Zane Burke to slow up, but that was enough to warrant the yellow flag.
Just before the halfway point, second caution of the main event. Gonna come out here. We'll go back and take a look. As you described, a battle for the 8th position going on between Puckett and Jason Freeman, and that gives everybody that were in those tooth and nail battles for first, second, third, as well as the battle for 4th and the battle for 6th to kind of catch their breath.
This, I think, was Puckett kind of. What happened was that Puckett bogged down on the outside of the racetrack. He couldn't quite get the power going or threw it in too far, and then I think that Freeman thought that he was clear, and he tried to pull up in front of him, but he could not do it, and ended up getting into the side of Jason Freeman got into the side of Bobby Puckett.
To remind you a little bit of mile and a half racing, where one driver comes low off the corner, the other driver swings wide off the corner, and unfortunately they both want the same piece of real estate. Now, Puckett didn't make a whole lot of contact there with Freeman, just a little spin around. The thing I would be worried about, you saw when he refired the car, he ran over one of those boundary tires down there, and that's going to do some pretty good damage to the front end of his race car.
It will knock some of the suspension out of line if it's hit at a funny angle, and it will also probably affect the back end of the car as well, but we'll have to see if it's gotten too much damage to be incompetitive, but that they were battling at the back of the pack, so we'll have plenty of open space to see if they can have so much damage on it. Louie Bernier will be the leader of the race. Bobby Trapper will be in second, and that will make James Boniface the inside line in third place. Grant Wesley now finds himself in a spot where if he tries to make a move, he might have the track position to do it. As Bernier goes back to the high side, we know that Bernier is good up there. Here comes Boniface. He's not waiting around. He wants to try and make a move on to Bobby Trapper. He needs to be in front of the 69 if he wants to have a shot at this championship. Wesley had to go at it for a minute, but has to fall back into 4th place.
4 drivers and 4 different options into the corner. Bonaface and Trapper went low. Wesley and race leader Bernier went to the top side. Now it's going to be 3 on the bottom. Bernier all by his lonesome on the outside line, and Trapper almost had him cleared there off of turn 4. He had to check up though, and here comes Bonaface to the inside for 2nd place.
Bobby Trapper bogged down going through 1 and 2, and now that's going to open the door for the 213 to try and swing in. Can he get the power off? This is the biggest struggle that they've had on the low side, but it didn't seem to affect him any at all. And now that he's got the outside line advantage, he might be able to get the power off the turn, but Trapper sails it into turn 1. They're dead even going down the back straightaway now through 1, or make that 3 and 4 to the outside. Still is Trapper. Can he get the advantage? They're still dead even. I don't think that anyone wants to give an inch.
A move right there that people might not have realized with Bonaface going into turn 3. He went into the middle line. Why did he do that?
Whoa!
Not to allow Bobby Trapper not to be able to swing it wide through the corner and diamond it. So a great defensive move there by James Boniface. He's now in control of 2nd. Trapper's under fire from Grant Wesley for 3rd. And remember, with the point situation coming into tonight, if Bonaface wins this race, he needs Bobby Trapper to finish outside of the top 5. So if you're Trapper right now, you might just go into ride mode and preserve this spot inside of the top 5, get that championship.
The problem is he is now on the bottom side of the racetrack, the wrong end of the racetrack as it is now Grant Wesley has made his way to the outside, and with the advantage will power around on the outside. The reason why I kind of, let out a bit of an exclamation was that Bobby Trapper on the inside, he looked like he had tagged a little bit of the tire barrier a couple of laps ago. His wheels locked up on the front as if he was trying to stop it in enough time, and that's what's caused Bobby Trapper and Drew Boniface now to try and swing around the outside of the racetrack. The good news for Bobby Trapper is that he will be in a 5th place spot. Even if he loses these positions, it will still be enough to win the championship. However, you've got John Cannizzaro and Brian Rubel that might want to try and catch up to him, and if we have another yellow flag, that's going to cause some more chaos.
I want to add something in here too based off what my previous statement was. That was if we're not counting the bonus points from the heat race. Let's not forget, James Boniface won his heat race. Trapper finished 3rd. So 10 bonus points went to the 213, only 6 went to the 69. So plus 4 in the advantage here tonight for James Boniface before the green flag even waved for the main event.
And right now, Bobby Trapper running in a 5th place spot. James Boniface now running in a 2nd place spot. Don't know if that's enough for the championship, but it's certainly a good enough go. If he can get to the lead of the race, it would certainly solidify a chance for the championship. The problem is, Louie Bernier has turned on the jets ever since the threat of Bobby Trapper has been lifted off of him. He's been able to get a pretty big advantage, about a half-second advantage, as behind them, Bobby Trapper now to the inside of Drew Bonaface, trying to get around on the inside.
Answer your question, right now, running 2nd place for James Boniface would net him 90 race points. 5th place right now for Bobby Trapper. I think he actually just moved up to 4th, but if we count him in 5th position, he would get 78. So that'd be 12 points that Boniface would gain. He needs that race lead from Bernier, because right now, that's a difference of 4 points from 2nd back to 3rd, 4 points from 3rd back to 4th, 4 points from 4th back to 5th, but there's a 10-point difference from if you finish 2nd to if you win here tonight. So that's 10 points right in front of Louie Bernier right now, or make that James Boniface rather right now, and it's Louie Bernier that holds the spot.
Drew Bonaface made contact with Bobby Trapper and almost caused him to go up to the outside of the racetrack into the wall. I had to check up this battle right now. And how is it for Drew Bonaface in this position? Right now, he's the sole proprietor of James Boniface's fate right now. He's the one causing Bobby Trapper to have this struggle by battling him for the 4th place position. This has got to be a bit intense if you're Bobby Trapper. Right now, if you're Trapper, you're a temporary Bernier fan.
What about Grant Wesley? His car looks like it might be a little bit better on the long run. James Boniface, they make some contact going into turn 1. That's going to slow the both of them up. And now Grant Wesley going to have to try again as he and the 213 lose a ton of track position to the race leader.
Louie Bernier does not care about the championship battle. He's looking for 3 wins in a row. He's opened up a 1.7-second lead late in the race with 10 laps to go. It's going to take an almighty miracle for James Boniface to catch the leader now, but right now, he's focused on having himself finish in front of Bobby Trapper. Trapper now in the 5th place position. Right.
We got a caution. Zane Burke has gone around.
And that was the caution that I think Boniface wanted.
Yellow flag and away for the 3rd time tonight. Burke had already teleported his machine to pit road before we were able to focus a camera on him. Let's go back and see what exactly happened.
Oh, you were talking about it. If you get too low on the racetrack, you could make contact with a tire barrier.
This is the first one, hits the second one, sends the front end of the car up into the air, and oh yeah, sitting against the wall. Not enough time to be able to get that car turned around. There you saw race leader Louie Bernier just a mere second later come into that shot. A very smart heads-up move there by Zane Burke to teleport the machine to pit road out of harm's way. And he will have to sit on pit road for a little while here to serve that tow before heading back out. He, I believe, yes, still has a faster pair available to him. Puckett used his faster pair under the 2nd caution, and Jason Freeman, who brought out the 1st caution of the day, had already used his faster pair, and he's actually taken his car back behind the wall, so he will finish out the season 10th here at the Charlotte Dirt Track, and more than likely, I believe, is going to be finishing, want to say, 4th in the overall point standings, but that really all depends on where Grant Wesley finishes here tonight.
So as they run right now, within 10 laps to go, it's going to be a single file restart. Safety truck is pulled down to the pit lane. It's going to be Bernier, Boniface, Wesley, Drew Bonaface, and then Bobby Trapper. John Cannizzaro can play spoiler here if he tries to duck down to the inside of Trapper. Green flag back in the air. Louie Bernier got an almighty restart. James Boniface wants to stay with him. He wants this lead, but right now he's got a big problem in the form of not only the 74, but the 88 behind him.
Wesley up on the top side, Drew Bonaface up on the top side as he tries to get 4th position from Bobby Trapper. Bonaface, he's got his sights set ahead on the 74 of Louie Bernier, but already 7/10 of a second between those two with a limited number of laps to go, and still Grant Wesley breathing down his neck for another spot higher in the podium.
Around the outside of the racetrack, Grant Wesley's trying to get around the side. He had an advantage for a second. He looked like he was going to try and stick it to the middle of the racetrack, but couldn't quite do it. Now rim riding around the wall. And now as Drew Bonaface and Bobby Trapper continue to battle for that 4th place position, Drew doing everything he can to keep Trapper behind as James Boniface trying to get to the lead of the race, and I don't know if this stage, Louie Bernier might simply just be too fast for James Boniface to catch right now. This could be the championship gone for Boniface.
Last week, after winning back-to-back races, we said to Bernier, do you think you can finish out the season with 3 in a row? There was no hesitation to think. He said, yes, I believe we can.
Car in the wall!
Big hit. That's Wesley. Wesley's gone up and over. I believe he ran too high off the corner. The right side wheels gripping the outside wall and sending him for a tumble.
He was trying to get the maximum amount of speed off the corner, and like you said, I think it was just too much for the 88 to ask for, and he gets to the outside, grips the wall, and makes some damage with Bobby Trapper. I don't think it was enough to be substantial, but there was some contact, but then comes back down onto all 4 wheels, and that might be night done for the 88.
I know that he was really putting the pressure on James Boniface for position, but if anything, Grant Wesley bringing out this yellow flag and looks like out of this race now, that's going to hurt the 213 because that was a position between himself and Bobby Trapper on track.
It's all lining up for Trapper right now. All he has to do is he has to finish inside the top 6 now, and he's running in a 4th place spot. This is where he needs to be if he wants to win this championship. We're going to go with one more lap under pacing, and then we'll set them for a 3-lap shootout. It's going to be Louie Bernier, James Boniface, your top 2. Drew Bonaface and Bobby Trapper at the current moment is your champion. John Cannizzaro, Brian Rubel, Bobby Puckett, and Zane Burke will get us underway for 3 more laps of the season. Grant Wesley, Jason Freeman, our official retirees. But Seth, 3 laps on the season. Who's going to get it? Who's going to lose it?
Well, I'm going to remind you that we've had 3 times this season where we have gone into overtime, but only 1 time has that happened during the second half of this season. It's going to be 2 to go this next time by. Bobby Trapper trying to advance another position higher, continues that dogfight with Drew Bonaface, and now John Cannizzaro enters into the mix. 3-way battle for 3rd.
Cannizzaro was trying to say, if I'm not going to win the championship, I at least want to put my name in the mix for battling with the championship. And he's going to try and get to the inside. I don't think he's got enough as outside. Inside goes Trapper. He's going to get past again as a white flag, I believe, has come out for Louie Bernier, who, if again we think what would have happened if he had ran all season long. He's going through turn 3 and 4. 3 starts recently and 3 wins on the season. 3 in a row for Bernier.
Louie Bernier is leapfrogged through the point standings after his victory 2 weeks ago at Knoxville. Jumped another multiple spots. I think it was 7 spots last week after his victory at Weed Sport. And this is a guy that's more than likely going to finish up maybe just outside of the top 10 in points with only 3 official main event starts on the season. James Boniface will bring it home in 2nd, a valiant attempt, but Bobby Trapper was able to finish 1 position behind in 3rd. That's going to be enough to net Bobby Trapper his 3rd straight championship in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series.
So a night of 3 in a row tonight. Louie Bernier gets his 3rd win in a row, and Bobby Trapper takes the championship for the 3rd season in a row. And you got to think he came into this season with a lot of weight on his shoulders, being a 2-time champion and a defending champion, and now he's come out of it, and he will win again. And this wasn't an easy season for him either. He had a lot of battlings that he had to do throughout the championship, and a lot of different tracks, had a lot of ups and downs, but he still managed to be into this race with a 30-point plus advantage. And it came down to a double points finale. He still got it done at 3rd place tonight after finishing in a 3rd place in his heat race. And he really would have liked those bonus points, and that added some drama, but he simply could not get it done for James Boniface. A valiant effort, like you said. It was just too little too late.
Definitely between last season and this season, a tale of 2 different stories. Last year came into the season finale over 100 points to his nearest competitor, Kenneth Drake. Pretty much mathematically impossible for him to lose the championship. This season, he caught fire early, won the first 2 races on the season. But then James Boniface kept finding victory lane, including 4 times in a row. John Cannizzaro had the consistency week after week, finally capped that off with a victory at USA International. And they kept the former champion and now 3-time champion Bobby Trapper honest for sure. Kept him having to have the consistency week after week as well to keep the hounds at bay. But here tonight, when it mattered the most, Bobby Trapper rising to the occasion and gets it done with what he needed to be able to net his third straight championship trophy. Congratulations to him. What a battle here tonight. Tremendous fighting all the way through the field. Three-way battle for the lead. We had a battle going on for fifth. We had great battling even back for the 7th and 8th position. I mean, this is an unbelievable racetrack. No surprise that it is, for the last 2 seasons, placed host to the championship battle. And we take a look at the finishing results here tonight. Great performances by all drivers involved, but oh boy, James Boniface missed a race this season. Louie Bernier only ran 3 races near the end. I'm telling you what, Bobby Trapper, he may have won the championship here tonight, but I think heading into next season, his work is going to be cut out for him yet again.
Absolutely. If James Boniface hadn't missed that one race, it would have been a much tighter battle for the championship, and might have this finished result might have shown that Boniface would have been the champion. But that's how competitive Boniface was all season long, and that's the kind of competition that Trapper's going to have to deal with. And if Louie Bernier runs the full season, you better bet that he's going to be another name in the mix for his championship hopes as well. This could be a 3, maybe even possibly a 4-way fight for the championship, because we keep talking about John Cannizzaro. He had a great season as well, and if he has that same consistency, he could be a guy that would spoil these 4 or these last 3 that we mentioned and maybe take a championship away. But that's for next season. This season, it's a night of 3, Seth. We 3 times in a row Louie Bernier, 3 times in a row champion Bobby Trapper, 3-way battles on the racetrack. It's just been incredible to see this race, and like you said, there is no reason why I don't think we should have this race anywhere else on the schedule. It provides fantastic championship racing, and I want to go back to one of the moves of the race, and I think it was kind of when Bobby Trapper stuck his foot down and tried to get into the 5th place position, or kept battling for the 4th place position. Had Bobby Trapper started to ride around the racetrack and kind of give up the fight with Drew Bonaface, I think that it might have been where John Cannizzaro potentially could have caught up to him, and we could be talking about a completely different points outlook. But because he kept his foot in it and he never slowed down, that's what allowed him to eventually get this 3rd place spot. And I think that's more or less what solidified the championship tonight.
And just to bridge off that, if he kind of rides in that 5th position, does he have that narrow miss when Grant Wesley eventually gets the wall, or is he right there when the 88 comes back down? We'll never know, but that certainly could have been a possibility and really thrown a huge X factor into the outcome of this championship here tonight. Now, normally we end up interviewing 3rd place, then 2nd place, then the race winner, but our 3rd place finisher here tonight is your champion. So we're actually going to be talking to Bobby Trapper last. We're going to leapfrog him just for the moment here in interviews and move up to 2nd place finisher here tonight, 2nd place in the overall championship battle here tonight as well, James Boniface. James, it's Anthony and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys. What's going on?
Man, I'll tell you what, a lot of times when you're observing a driver out there, you can tell that they are giving it everything they've got, and that's what we saw out of this 213 here tonight, not only in the heat race, but in the main event also as well. I mean, what little more did you need to be able to get up there and maybe get this victory? Because it was looking like if you could get that race lead, you had the championship by a couple of points.
Yeah, that would have been really helpful. I don't know. I just kind of fell off towards the end of the race. The slicks kind of got to me, and I felt way better in the beginning of the race, and that's just the way it panned out.
Certainly had a fantastic run tonight despite the battlings going on around you, and you certainly had the right motive of the motivation going into this race. You took the heat win and then had that extra bonus points. You thought a valiant effort, but what was it like on the racetrack to try and battle on the racetrack? Is it seemed like it wasn't easy to make passes no matter where you ran out here, and was that an influencer to why the championship came down to the way it did?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't easy to pass in the feature. The heat race was got my blood rushing for sure, and it gave me good confidence into the feature. But I just didn't make it happen.
Well, one thing that you did do this season, James, was find victory lane a total of 5 times, most of any drivers here this season. Had a string of 4 in a row at one point there as well, which put you right up into the championship picture. I mean, obviously had a lot of momentum this season. So how does that build motivation for next season to try and go out there and get that championship trophy?
Yeah, it makes me want to run all the rounds and hopefully try to get the trophy next season. Missing one of the rounds definitely hurt me, and then dropping out of USA, that one round hurt me pretty bad.
Well, still a valiant effort here tonight. Give it a heck of a try there in this season finale. Congratulations on the overall season, though. A great year for you, a career year, and top of the board in a lot of the statistics at season's close. James, we're now going to take the mic, hand it over to you for some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Yeah, I want to thank my brother and my cousins for being in the race scene, and Swan Speed Shop for my setups, and Blaze Design for my wraps, and you guys for putting on the show. I appreciate it.
James Boniface going to finish second in the overall standings here this season. He'll look to finish one position better next year. James Boniface, your runner-up finisher here tonight at the dirt track at Charlotte. Congratulations once again, James, and best of luck next season.
Thanks. Have a good night, guys.
All right, it's again kind of out of order, but we're going to go down to victory lane. Third time in 3 weeks, we're going to be talking to Louie Bernier. Louie, gets Anthony and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
What's up, boys?
Man, I'll tell you what, we asked you last week, can you do 3 in a row? And you said, yes, I can, man. You proved it here tonight. Up at the front, stayed at the front. Nobody was able to get to you. Dominant performance here tonight, but it couldn't have been that easy, right? Were there some things that this track was giving you some struggles with?
We did it, boys. The track, I love Charlotte. That's one of my favorite track on the sim. The track was perfect for me. Just needed to wait, flake more, and find a good lane, figure it out, and go in front.
We certainly saw that you didn't have any struggle figuring out where you were going to run on the racetrack, and 3 wins in a row coming, or now going out of tonight's race. It certainly has to feel good for a last season finale, but you didn't run all season long. What would it be like if we saw you running all season next season? Because you would have been pretty well up in the championship battle this season had you ran all season.
We're gonna be there next season for sure. I love running this race, this league, and we're gonna be there for sure next year.
Gotta ask you, I mean, we've seen you be dominant in the races, but we've also seen you be pretty dominant in the heat races. Tonight's heat didn't quite get off the way that you wanted to. You ended up finishing 5th of the 5 competitors. It gave you the good starting track position here for the main event, but I mean, how disappointing is that? Were you wanting to win that heat race, or were you kind of happy that maybe that last place finish in the heat race was going to give you that track position you needed for the 50 lapper?
We got bad luck in the heat. I go too high, and that's all my fault. Like, he go high, but it's just a bad start for me, and I got lucky for that. That's race position. I started on a pole. That was just amazing.
Certainly worked to your benefit. I think you led every lap here tonight in the season finale for the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. Congratulations on that. Congratulations on your 3rd win of the season. I'll tell you what, no doubt about it. I think we're going to be talking about you a lot more in the upcoming season, especially in that championship picture. But Louie, we're now going to turn the mic over to you, let you thank some sponsors and do some shout outs.
I want to say thanks to Alpha Speed, Ducharme Speed, Mike Bueno for the paint, you boys for the broadcast. Very appreciated, and see you next season.
Absolutely. That's Louie Bernier. He's going to be heading into next year with a lot of momentum. A 3-time winner in the final 3 races of the season. Congratulations once again, Louie, and best of luck next year.
Thank you, boys. Have a good night.
Now let's talk to our 3rd place finisher, but your champion for the 3rd straight season here in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series, Bobby Trapper. Bobby, it's Anthony and Seth up here in the FRM booth. You got us?
Yeah, I got you guys.
Man, I'll tell you what, we said it here just before we got these drivers in for interviews, kind of the tale of 2 seasons between last year and this year. Last year, you come into the Charlotte dirt track, over 100 points to your next competitor. You go out there, you win that race. But here tonight, you had 2 drivers that still had a mathematical shot. you had to at least finish up there inside of the top 5. So was the mentality here tonight just come in, maintain the gap, and keep that car in one piece at the checkered?
Yeah, I honestly didn't even know what the gap was. Me, John, and James were just talking about that on the side there after the race. I wasn't really sure. We're really sure who won it. So no, I didn't really want to focus on that. Just kind of go out, try and win like every week.
You certainly did have a fantastic season this season, and 3 championships now to your credit. What did you have to do to go into this race as a mindset to try and get this championship done? You had a points advantage, then the 3rd place in the heat race, and then by the time you got to the main event, it was more than mathematically possible that you could lose the championship battle. So what was the overall mindset going in?
I think just knowing it's extra distance, is try and keep the car clean in the beginning and see how far we can make it up in the beginning. I thought we were had a pretty fast car. It seemed like we were keeping pace pretty good, but that mid race on, I think we just lost a little bit of speed and unfortunately slipped back a little bit. But just trying to drive back and catch up to them in the end. I think that's just how it landed basically.
Well, Bobby, now a 3-time champion here in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. Unprecedented. You've got a shot next season for 4 in a row, but Anthony and I were talking. There are some guys now that are looking like they could give you a run for your money. But James Boniface this season finding victory lane multiple times. Bernier now coming on the scene, winning the last 3 races on the season. Canonzaro's been consistent. Grant Wesley finding victory lane for the first time in his career a couple of weeks ago. So just how much more motivation does this give you going into next year to continue to find victory lane multiple times, to continue the consistency in your bid for 4 championships in a row?
Yeah, I think definitely want to try and step up my game and get a little faster here. I think each season of this series that we've had here at the league, it's been getting harder and harder with the competition. I hope to say it's going to be the same for the next season they have. So I'm just looking forward to the next challenge with it.
Well, Bobby, congratulations on a job well done here this year. You pick up the championship for the 3rd straight season, and now we're going to give that opportunity for some championship thank you sponsors and shout-outs.
Yeah, just got to thank TNR, Master Millwright for sponsoring the whole league, Rubel, Freeman, Garrett, everyone for hosting it, you guys for broadcasting every week, and everyone else comes out and races each week. It's been a fun season, and look forward to the next one.
Well, Bobby Trapper finishes 3rd place here tonight in the season finale at the dirt track of Charlotte. It's enough to net him the championship here, his 3rd straight in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. Congratulations once again, Bobby. Best of luck next year.
Thanks, guys.
That is going to bring the 3rd season of the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series to a close. Bobby Trapper has been in just about every scenario you can think of in the last 3 seasons. He was 14 points back in Season 1 heading to the finale. He went on to win that season finale to pick up his 1st championship. Last season, it was a bit of a cakewalk, as mentioned, triple digits between himself and his next competitor to pick up that championship, and he went out to win the Charlotte race in style. And then tonight, had a couple of drivers that had a shot at him but didn't panic, kept himself consistent, did what he had to do, brings it home P3 to net 3rd championship in a row. Next season, though, if you've had all those different scenarios, I mean, what more can Bobby Trapper, what kind of a scenario could he find himself in when we get to next season's finale?
You might have another driver to deal with, and Louie Bernier. We heard him that he said that he was going to try and run all season next season. If he does, that means that not only you're going to have to deal with Canonzaro again, not only you have to deal with Bonaface again, you'll also have to deal with Louie Bernier. What tracks in what order will we be going in next season? And while that not necessarily would make that big of a difference, we do know that some tracks favor other drivers than others do. It would be, now that we're going to have more drivers in a bid for the championship, what will we see come out of that when we have to have not only Bobby Trapper defend his championship for the 4th time in a row, but have a load of hungry drivers that want to take it? So it's going to be a little bit of, track layouts and having to battle again. And again, it's going to be a more matured Bobby Trapper. We were talking about how, different seasons have had different versions of Bobby Trapper. We're going to have a different version of Bobby Trapper going into the 4th time in a row. What kind of mentality is he going to be in, and what will he be able to do to run the table around the other drivers?
I have to wonder too, near the close of this season, we saw a number of drivers check their first career win off their list. Grant Wesley, John Cananzaro, Louie Bernier. So what kind of motivation, what kind of hope does that give drivers that we've seen up there towards the front, like a Brian Rubel, Bobby Puckett, Jason Freeman, even Drew Bonaface, who gets, I believe it's his second top 5 in only 3 starts here tonight, for them to be able to crack their way into victory lane in next season?
It's very possible that they've taken what they've learned this season and are going to try to apply it next season. And, we've seen how well some of them, and some of them got their first win this season, and we were amazed to see how well that they were doing. And, that success is going to continue over into next season. I am super excited for the young talent that we have. And, you never know, one of them might come up through the ranks and all of a sudden find some their foot in the door and be able to take some wins away, maybe cause a little bit of havoc up in the top 4, maybe be in the top 4 themselves. You never know.
May play host to the championship at the little dirt track just off of Charlotte Motor Speedway's turn 4 across the Concord Parkway does not disappoint in terms of racing in the season finale. Second straight year that this racetrack has brought about an incredible battle from start to finish and an incredible race winner this season, Louie Bernier at the dirt track of Charlotte. Congratulations to him on the finale victory. Congratulations to Bobby Trapper on becoming a 3-time winner in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. Thank you to everybody for staying with us, not only here tonight, but during the course of this season. And Anthony, thank you for joining me in the booth here tonight for what was a heck of a finale to close out what's been a great season.
Absolutely. It's been fantastic to see these guys duke it out race after race, and now we have to gear ourselves up for next season, and can't wait to be back in the booth with you.
Absolutely. Gonna be a good one. Lot of names gonna be up there in victory lane in the top of the point stand. Should be a great season to come. But once again, it's Bobby Trapper who for the 3rd straight time hoists the championship trophy here in the TNR Master Millwright Big Block Series. Thank you to everybody for tuning in here tonight. For Anthony McCurry, I'm Seth Cole. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night, folks, as you've been watching another broadcast courtesy of the Flatout Racing Network.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope